Welcome to this new video of digital painting with Krita. In this case, I'm going to talk about crayons. Do you remember crayons? And I have created a special theme for you. It's a bundle that you can use with the tablet or you can use with the mouse. So it's perfect if you want to paint with your kids or you want to experiment or maybe challenge yourself. So stay with me and enjoy. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is just to improve a bit the UI for this task, the crayons painting with tablet or with mouse, because remember, these brushes have been created to be usable also with the mouse. We go to the settings and configure toolbars. We go to the brushes and stuff, which is this toolbar here, okay, and I just right here slide for a slider, okay, and then I select this one, and this is going to be in this position, okay, so I select this one and this one. Okay, perfect. Now I have 4 sliders. Impressive. Because now I can control really easy the size, the opacity, the flow, and the pattern scale. And you will see why this is important with the crayon brushes. Why is the flow parameter here? If I select this brush, for example, and I make some brush strokes from minimum pressure to the higher pressure, I can create things like this. Softer, stronger, but imagine I am using only a mouse. So if I am press this button to simulate that, I am using a mouse, so no pressure is available. Now I can create this kind of strokes, okay? But how I can create these ones? Well, if I reduce the flow, then I realize that I can create softer strokes that can be used to create like a gradient, for example, or blended colors, okay? So even with the mouse, you have the power to create beautiful artworks. So now is your time. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do is to understand how we can control the background color, because there are 2 different ways that we can do that, okay? So if we create a new file, we can see that we can create the dimensions, resolution, different things. But if you go to the content, you can notice you have the as raster layer, the background, and as canvas color. And the difference is this, because if I use as a raster layer, I create a document, I'm telling Krita that I want to use the background, this layer, this raster layer, as something to control the background. And right now is white, but I can just, for example, play with this and I can change with different colors. Of course, I have the control here, okay? But what happens if I use another option and create a new file and go to the content and use the as canvas color option? I create a document right now, and you can see there is no fillet layer here. The background is empty, it's like a normal layer, even when it's called background, okay? It can seem a bit weird, but it's really powerful and you will see why. So if I paint something like this, you can see that my background is white, but if I go to the thumbnail, this is transparent, okay? So there is no background really in the layer stack. So how can I control this color? Well, I have to go to the image image background color and transparency. And now I can play with colors to see how different is my painting with different backgrounds. Okay, so this is the way that we can control the background color. But go to the image background color. This can be a bit tricky. So if I go to the settings, configure toolbars, I can go really fast. If I go to I just right back and select the image background color and transparency, and I select, for example, the brushes and stuff, maybe just here, and I put it right next to the mirror, okay, next to this. So now I have a button right here, and I can control the color just pressing this button if the document uses the background as canvas color. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just to add a new thing to control if I use the pressure or not. Okay, so if I write here pen, I can use the use pen pressure. And if I go to the brushes and stuff and look for this option and just put it here. And now I go here and activate the non-pressure. Remember, we are not using the pressure, and I can get textured look. Okay, I can get just very similar result with this brush, and I get this, and I can use the flow as we have seen, and I get this maybe around here, yeah, something similar, and the grainy, and I can use this to create the creamy, and I can create leaves, and remember, I'm using a mouse, and I can create the wet. Remember, opacity controls the amount of intensity, of strength applied to the surface with no pressure. And I can use this to mimic the sidebar. And I also can blend to create broken edges. Okay? Okay, now let's go with the surface. We can control two different things in the surface. We can control the background color and we can control the grain. To control the background color, we use the button that we have located here before, and then we use this to go to the saturated color or less saturated color. Also, we can control the luminosity, the lightness of the paper. Maybe black paper, beautiful to create drawings with white charcoal or white colored pencils. But for now, we're going to let this as it is. It's not saturated, there is no color, and also I'm going to use the opacity of this layer to control the grain. So we can control how grainy is the surface, and it's good between just about 15 or 13 if you want to create a softer grain or maybe rough grain. But where are the brushes? Because if I go here, they are not available. Well, I have to go to the settings, manage resources, and then import the bundle. Okay, import and look for the place where I have downloaded the bundle file. Right now I have it in my desktop, so I go to the crayons and just click in open, and it's okay, it's perfectly available right now. So click on accept. I go right now and I see the brushes. We need to restart Krita to get the tag for this bundle. Okay, now we have restarted Krita. I can go to here and select the crayon, and I have all the brushes. If you go to the workspaces, you can find right now you have Krita for Kids new workspace. Okay, so I select this and I have all my brushes and the layers, and there is no another dogger disturbing my attention. Of course, if I need to have the advanced color selector, I can go again to the settings, dockers, and advanced color selector, and place right here. And this way I have both. I have the palette and I have the color wheel. And maybe you notice I have this right here because I usually have more buttons. So in this case, I can move it this right now and I gain more space. It's always good. You can select the brushes right here, or select the brushes right here in this dockable window where you can just select all the brushes, or just go to the crayon and select your brushes here. But you can also use another way, which is the pop-up wheel. And in the pop-up wheel, you're going to find something like this. Okay. Yeah, I like these brushes, but I want to use the crayon. So I can go here and select the crayon, and I have my brushes already placed to be used. And right now it's set up to 10 brushes, but I can change this really fast if I go to General, Miscellaneous, and select the number. For example, if I have a bundle which has more brushes, then I have more space for allocate these brushes. Okay, all the brushes available for you. Okay, let's go with the first brush. This brush is really useful if we need to create details on a surface. For example, if we need to create just like a door here for the mechanical stuff, or we need to create maybe lights for the eyes, maybe bright just effect like this, and then go to here and increase the light. If you increase the size and you go maybe for a lighter color, you can use the texture and you can create this kind of effect, or maybe reinforce here the darkness, or create lights in the planes, creating lines without destroying the texture effect. The next brush is really useful if you want to just paint in something without worrying too much about parameters. And if you have a tablet with tilt, you can use this brush to create thinner lines. But if you don't have tilt, the brush behaves really well too. So no problem to create this kind of continuous shading, for example, or just play a bit to create a second cube head, or wherever you want walking stage of the figure or the landscape. Sometimes we need to cover big areas, so I created these brushes to do that very easy, because I can just select the color and be covering a wide area without worrying too much about performance or whatever. You can see how easy we can create, for example, just a massive coverage of one area. Once we have the large area covered with a basic color, sometimes we want to play just a bit, adding some randomness with hue, and this brush is really good to do that. Sometimes we need to add just like dust or shavings of materials, so I select brighter color and use this like spraying effect. It can create also grainy shade here, for example. If you need to, you can use it to shade a bit or maybe make dirtier some areas like I am doing right now. And I think it's really fun to paint something without worrying too much about the color, because I select green and I get green and red and blue, and it's very interesting to add chromacity to your scenes, because maybe you select this one and increase the light and you're adding this chromacity to a background, for example, and if I press harder I get a stronger effect. If I change the hue, automatically change the effect. I think it's interesting for kids to teach them that really often color is not always pure color. It's affected by the surrounded colors, and it's also interesting to teach them that they don't have to be perfect painters. Now comes an interesting one, because sometimes we want to create vegetation. For example, maybe I want to create trees or vegetation, and this brush is for that, because look at that, I am creating really fast just not perfect tree or vegetation, but I can play with lighter colors to create this effect, okay, that I am creating leaves. When I'm doing this kind of things, I like a lot to play with the hue vibrance, and by default I left this at 10%, but if you are more crazy like me, you can go to 25, 24 and get these effects, these oranges tones in this electric lime color. I love it, and it's really easy. If I use, for example, now red, to get accents of pure red like fruits on the plants. And now we go to the color smudge brush engine brushes, which are these two. Okay, so they are really interesting, because if I'm using with pressure, I can create very soft blending with low pressure. As you can see, the brushes are really pleasant to the eye when they are blending the color. They are creamy, and you can use, for example, these two colors and create a beautiful mixing just without effort. Okay, but what happens if you have the pressure off? I can create, for example, this kind of stroke, and then I can create another one right here, and then I go here with right click and this menu appears. The parameters color rate must be here, so I click on accept and reduce to the 0, and then I can blend the colors with my mouse too. If I need maybe a bigger size, I can use it, and then it's like smudging a bit with the finger, because I am only blending some areas just a bit. And you can see how it's paint and blending, and I can, maybe I need more light here, and I can blend paint here or whatever. It's really funny to play with these brushes. And this one, it's more stronger effect, because it's using the sidebar and it creates this dragging effect with low pressure. Of course, we can control this here. If I go to the smudge length, I can reduce this to 30%, and the effect is less stronger. And the last one is this one, is just to break the edges. Okay, so if you need to blend something, like breaking the edge, and this brush is for you. It's using the sprite feature, and you can adjust here to create a more stronger effect or weaker effect. That's all for now. These are the brushes that are in your hands right now. Did you like it? Please let me know in the comments. And thanks a lot for watching. If you find this useful, share it and subscribe to the channel. Please don't forget to support Krita, and that way there will be more videos like this. See you next time. Bye.